One more thing. Herb Jones would be incredible as a Dallas Mavericks trade target, but the Pelicans don't want to trade him? Why are they not being sellers? Talk about that and more in today's One More Thing.
I'm here because I have to be.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machine. Don't let his lightness take away from his quickness.
You can rest later. You're young.
I'm in color here.
Wait. One more thing.
Yeah, welcome. You're still locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member, NBA channel manager, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joined by Isaac Harris, the One More Thinking, all those things. Let's get into it. Herb Jones, we talked about him for the last couple of weeks. He could be a trade candidate. He would be an incredible wing defender for the Dallas Mavericks and all that. Mark Stein reports today. This feels like an annual exercise here, but league sources tell Mark Stein that teams interested in Herb Jones amid the injury-ravaged Pelicans' 5-20 season. That's wild. They needn't bother. New Orleans has no interest in fielding trade pitches for its highly regarded perimeter defensive ace. On a scale of 0 to 5, how much of a bummer was that to you?
5. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
why would they want to trade him? No matter where you're at. I think he's a win now player and he's a young player. So it's like whatever direction they're trying to go in, which if I don't think they have one. He's
26. Is he that young?
Yeah. I mean, for his defensive versatility, like what? Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to trade Herb Jones, but
He's on a good contract. That's the thing.
Yeah, great
He's
contract.
making less than Klay is.
And that's, I mean, if Dallas's biggest, one of their problems right now defensively is the point of attack defense. And that's where Herb Jones would come in.
They don't have one elite guy that just is top 10 in the NBA. And I feel like you kind of need that guy. We talked about this. David Locke keeps asking me this question about the Mavs and other teams is to win a title, you need a top 10 guy, you need a top 20 guy, and you need a top 50 guy. And who can get in the top 50 for the Mavs?
Well, it's PJ.
And PJ is probably the guy to do it, right? But is PJ like a top 10 defender in the NBA? He's really good. But Herb would come in and be that guy. I'm not sure he would be top 50 either, but he'd be top 100. And that Mavs would have multiple top 100 guys that could maybe.
Well, I think Lively's close too.
Yeah,
so.
Right. Yeah. Lively, PJ, then Herb coming in. Dinwiddie when Luka's out, apparently. He's that guy. But yeah, the Herb Jones news, it is a bummer. To me, though, I'm still on this. I don't believe anybody. I don't believe any of these rumors ever. If it looks like
unless Stein said Dallas made a call, then we're leading the whole pod with it.
I just think that you're 5-20. You have the second worst record in the entire NBA. Only the Wizards, who have only beat the Hawks twice, and then now the Nuggets and Jokic. You're so bad. You've got to make some kind of moves. You got to trade guys with value. And so maybe they wouldn't start with Herb Jones, but they got to be taking calls on these guys. And everybody's untradeable until you get traded, right? It's happened over and over and over again in the NBA that these guys will get traded at some point. And if the Mavs need to make one more move and bring in one more piece that would get them to elite status somewhere, Herb Jones would help them get to elite on defense. Him, PJ, and Lively.
Yeah. Pretty nuts. You sent out on Subtext the other day, which make sure you guys subscribe to that to get all the Mavs news. Bobby Marks' breakdown of the Mavs and what they can trade right now. Yeah. And it's just a good primer for, trade season when it kicks off December 15th of what all they can trade. And, in that's a couple first round picks, some pick swaps and stuff. And I think when it comes to Herb Jones, like if they did, look at you putting it on the screen. That's why you should watch on YouTube, guys. And I think
keep listening.
Well, I think for Herb Jones, it's like, well, how much of that are you willing to give up if they took calls? Like if they're like, no, we're not taking calls on Herb. Well, are you? What about bam, 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 bam? And
this is what they have. They have 2 firsts. They're 2025, so this year, and they have 2031, which could be a really good pick.
It could be. Hopefully not.
It could be a valuable pick in the future. So they got 2 firsts. They have a swap in 2026 they can add into. So that's something.
Yeah.
They have 2 seconds they can add to it. Then you have young guys, your Omax Prospers, your Jaden's Hardy, even your Quentin Grimes.
Well,
throw those guys in. Those guys could be interesting in a trade. And you just, again, in a bidding war, the Mavs probably get outbid, but it's maybe enough to just make it happen if they're the team that gets lucky. Like the Porzingis trade a couple years ago, where the Mavs, that's all it took to get Porzingis. Yeah, and then the Mavs got lucky.
I just think we got to wait to see what direction they're going to go. I mean, it's just Brandon Ingram. They've tried. Now he's hurt. They actually don't have a ton of those picks left in the Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah.
It feels like they were one of the teams sitting on all these picks for so long. DeJounte Murray's barely played and stuff. So it's like, I wonder, do they start selling off? And then if that's the case, then you start getting excited. Like, all right, what pieces are you trying to trade off? There was
actually think they don't have any Lakers picks anymore. I think they're out of those.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
That's wild. So
Stein also mentioned in his Substack, which is great. Make sure you sub to that, about the next three teams that people, assume that these next three teams will be part of the selling group. Is there anybody a part of those three teams that you had?
Yeah, the Wizards, the Jazz, and the Nets are the clear sellers around the league.
Okay, yeah.
That's what he's hearing.
But then there's the next. But he mentions three teams after that people think will be the next three teams to be a part of that group, and that's
what were those teams?
Well, that was the Portland's. That was Portland, Chicago, and Toronto.
Mm.
And I have a guy in one of those three teams that I think is one of my top targets.
Ooh, give me your top target.
I like this guy a lot in the draft, and I've wavered some, but I'm back all in. Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah.
I love this guy coming out of the draft, and I think he would fit that lane too. They got to make a decision, like, what guards are they going to have? Like, so he's 6'5", he has a super long wingspan. I think he would give you the defensive stuff off the bench, another wing. He does struggle a little bit shooting the three, but I have the thing with him, I don't know what his stock is. Like, what is his draft value right now?
It feels like his stock with them has waned. Like it's gone up and down. He's not played, then all of a sudden he's playing again. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know that also that. I mean, him and Quentin Grimes kind of are would do similar things. Would have a similar role for the Mavericks, and so it's
Grimes is a better shooter. Yeah,
I don't know that that's a need for them right now. The Portland ones are interesting. So we'll talk about some of those names. I also have a couple more from the Wizards, Nets, and Jazz we haven't really talked about. And so we'll get into those. And more.
You have a Jazz player? I tried so hard.
The Jazz.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs. One more thing. Brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase of a ticket to comedy show, concert, sporting event, all kinds of different things. Got all kinds of things happening in Dallas. You've got Pentatonics around Christmas, $67 at Dickies Arena. That's pretty fun. AC/DC at AT&T Stadium. Mary J. Blige. I'm just going through Elevation Worship.
Let's go.
Right up your alley at Pastor Isaac. We could do that. Dua Lipa. That one is next year. That is a long way away. That is August. No, August, September.
Wow.
2025. So if you're planning that far in advance, Game Time has you covered. And with Game Time's all-in pricing, you can toggle the all-in feature, and you can see exactly what you're going to pay at checkout all the way in 2025. You don't have to worry about it in 2024. So go check that out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Isaac, what time is it?
Game Time.
That's right.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac. It's one more thing. You're the one more thing king. We're talking about trade targets for the Mavericks and all the rumors. Give me your next name.
I mean, when you look at a Toronto, well, okay, I'll just give you two names that haven't played yet this year, but I think could be available at the trade deadline. That's Bruce Brown and Matisse Thybulle.
Bruce Brown with the cowboy hat, just hanging out on the sidelines. Have you seen him with his cowboy hat?
Yes.
Who were they playing the other day? It was the Knicks, and RJ Barrett kept tipping the cap to him on the bench. Like he would hit a shot and he would turn over to Bruce Brown on the bench and he'd tip his his fake cowboy hat to him.
These are two guys Dallas has been interested in the past. They're both on expiring contracts, but like I said, both of them haven't played yet this season. Thibault is like he re-injured his ankle back a few weeks ago. Now he's out for another like I think 3 to 5 weeks. I don't know. It's just like two names that I would just like watch.
Thibault is like the actual former future Maverick because he did sign an offer sheet with the Mavs and then it got matched by the Blazers. So the Mavs have had some real actual interest where they've literally signed him. It's not even rumored anymore. Like it's legitimately they tried to sign him. And so that makes sense. He is also an elite defender where he would come in, and I don't think he's at the level of Herb Jones necessarily. And obviously his offensive game is not where Herb Jones is either. But if you want to become elite at an area, then you bring in that guy as like a specialist, and then with all the other guys you have, maybe you can put it together. He's not super big either. The Mavs need more size to play. One of the things that would be cool about Dorian is he would come in and allow the Mavs to play PJ at the 5, Dorian at the 4, Najee, Luka, Kyrie, and then all of a sudden you got a big-ish small ball lineup where they could play like the old Warriors used to play. And then that team all of a sudden feels more like what the Celtics are trying to do, what the Thunder are trying to do, and that could work because right now they got these centers they're trying to switch on everybody and then they can't shoot. So it's tough to space out. So, and then you try Maxey, and then Maxey doesn't give you anything on offense, but he still helps on defense. That's tough. So, yeah, I'm interested in both. What would it take to get Thibault? He's not, his contract's not too far off from Maxey's, is it?
I know that's the thing. It's like, what do you have to add to Maxey's contract, and do you like how much of an upgrade?
1 second.
Like how much of an upgrade is he over Maxey? And that's
he's making 11, so that's pretty close.
Yeah, it's right at it. So it's like maxing a couple seconds for him, and you get a guy that you're trying to get, 2 seasons ago. I don't know. Like I just wouldn't be shocked if Dallas did something like that. Bruce Brown makes more. He makes like a little over 20. He would be more of your like point guard defender type of guy. I'm just worried about it. I just haven't seen him on the floor for a long time. He's literally been hurt most of his time in Toronto. And even like this latest injury was like a knee scope in like the fall, like September a few months ago. So
he also like did not play that well for the Pacers, I don't think either. So
yeah, I just don't know if does he have the Denver version inside of him? I don't know.
He only played 33 games last year. Oof.
Yeah.
He could handle the ball a little bit too. So if you wanted to do something like that, but he only shot well that one from 3 that 1 year in Brooklyn, and then he won the title with the Nuggets. That was a good season for him. All right, I got some other names. Yeah, this one is just a bummer. Malcolm Brogdon would be a really great piece. He just never stays healthy. But the Wizards are, Stein reported that they're increasingly regarded as likely to seek trades for both Jonas Valanciunas and Malcolm Brogdon. I bring up Brogdon because it would be great to have an upgrade over that Dinwiddie spot right now. Even though Stein said the Mavs aren't looking for a playmaker. And so that one's tough because Brogdon just doesn't play. And so I think that's the answer to him.
Yeah.
Isn't it great, though, that the Mavs aren't interested in Jonas Valanciunas because they don't need to be? I just want to bring every center that comes up. I just want to bring them up just to say, no, the Mavs don't need them.
Have they printed his Lakers jersey yet? Or
we did that for years where we were just like every center the Mavs were interested in. How many trade pods have we done?
Yeah.
Kuzma. Is Kuzma a no-go for you? Taking time.
Well, I just don't like. Does he like? You're trading for him to start, so it's like
probably.
I mean,
starts in the Klay spot, and then you become a really big team.
Like, hey, bud, you chose this to stay with these Wizards over us.
I mean, Dinwiddie went to the Lakers instead of the Mavs, and then came back. If Dinwiddie can come back to Mama, can Kuzma come back to? I don't know. Whatever. I
just feel like to get Kuzma, you got to like start putting in first at that point,
stuff. And I don't think he fits enough of their needs.
I don't either. I think I'm out.
The Jazz one, the player that makes a lot of sense, it just makes too much, is John Collins. He makes 26. It's really hard to get to that number, but he would be that backup 4 that could shoot a little and that could help you.
Yeah, it's just getting to that number. It's like, are you giving up Klay? Are you giving up Najee?
Right.
Are you giving up Gafford? Like, are you giving up any of these people? Like, no, for not a John Collins. So I tried really hard with Utah. I just don't. It's hard to find anybody.
The other name is Sexton, making 18. That's like a max. You'd have to do like Maxey, send to Exum back there, and then I don't know, Grimes. That gets you to 18 about.
Yeah, and you're just like saying play the Dinwiddie role type of thing. I don't know. I just don't think he's that great defensively. So I want a defensive upgrade if I'm trading for somebody.
He thinks he's better defensively for sure.
Okay, one more thing.
Oh,
if Stein said Toronto might join the mix.
Yeah,
talked about Bruce Brown. Would you try to get Davion Mitchell?
Do you know how old Davion Mitchell is?
38.
No, he's 26. He always feels like he's 22 to me. It's an interesting one. I just don't think he would play on the Mavs, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel like there's a new wave of people talking about how great he is defensively, posting clips and stuff online right now. And I'm like, yes, that's a lot of fun, but he's also playing rugby. And I'm like, I could post rugby clips too and be like, look how great defense this is right here.
Like if Lou Dort is the regular Pokemon, then like, you know how they made all the baby versions for Pokemon? They made like Pikachu and then they have Pichu. Like I feel like Davion Mitchell is the baby version, the baby Pokemon version of Lou Dort.
Are you bummed the Mavs lost the cup? Like, they're not going to Vegas.
I'm not.
I'm not either.
Personally, it'd be cool for them to win and like it would be cool for them to have something to play for, but I don't know. So.
I'm kind of like I've kind of talked myself into like the psychology part of it of like, hey, let the Thunder have their like flowers right now, all right? Let them
peak too early.
Yeah, let them. We just pounced on them in the playoffs. Let them do their thing. Let them go to Vegas. Let's chill out at home. Go do this Golden State road trip, and you're gonna be home for forever. Get some rest. Get everybody like over the sickness. Let's get everybody split apart for a little bit, all right?
The Mavs also just didn't earn that trip. They just did not play well enough in that Thunder game.
And then you match up in the playoffs. You start pulling out some cards you kind of held in your pocket in that game.
Get your Blue Eyes White Dragon out. That's right. We're doing multiple references. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on the One More Thing with Locked On Mavs. Check the QR code in the corner for different ways to follow the show. Also, the links in the description. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.